Great day everybody, my name is Major and welcome back to my channel. This is Monster Hunter Now. Before I proceed to the quick guide, I just want to show you a very cool trick of filling up your special gauge before you fight the big monsters. So as you can see, the special gauge is not full, but you can actually, using the bow, fill that up pretty quickly by landing some non-lethal shots against the small monsters. So and just keep on hitting this Raphanos with some non-lethal shots and see if we could fill up this gauge without really having to eat a steak or slaying large monsters that much or slaying a lot of small monsters. Is this, sometimes you don't really encounter many of those monsters. So there we go. It's full. Let's just double check. Yep, it's full. So now we proceed to the quick guide. So I have just reached HR 120 and I think I've accumulated enough knowledge over the past March, April, May, over the past 2 to 3 months about Monster Hunter Now and what you need to do in order to progress all the way to 8-star monsters. So I'll just switch the screen real quick. So you can pause the video here if you need this guide. So one again, I think a lot of YouTubers have emphasized this, focus on upgrading your weapons first. And what I've learned is you want to prioritize water, fire, and thunder elements because that covers most of the monsters that you're going to be slaying throughout the quests. And you only add ice when your resources permit it or when the necessity arises. So I only crafted ice when I needed to fight the Diablos. And just in case you don't know, there's always the hunter guide for you to be able to see what the monsters are weak to. So as you can see, most of them are weak to like either water, thunder, fire, ice. And you can also consult mhn.quest for more information, and you'll actually see there that all those 4 elements have all the monsters covered. So I'm going to be switching screens from time to time just so that the application doesn't close. And so if possible, also only use one weapon type because that's going to allow you to not only master the weapon and learn how to use it very effectively against all the monsters, but that will save you a lot of money when it comes to crafting your armor. And that's the second part. For up until you get beyond level 6, you should only focus on a general set of equipment. And for the skills that you might want to get, actually, I suggest that you get Divine Blessing all the way to level 5 if you can, because that's gonna prevent you from using up all of your first aid potions and those regular potions, because Divine Blessing is really, really good. Based on my experience, I should have been killed so many times by lethal hits from monsters, but because of Divine Blessing level 5, I was just fine and I was able to keep on farming lots and lots of monsters, and I actually ended up on some days not collecting the free supply potions because I haven't used any of those potions throughout the day. And so this is my this has been my default armor set all the way until 6-star monsters. So it's just like a general weapon I have, and normally what you'd get is Divine Blessing level 5 and a lock on. So I like lock on because it allows you to focus and break specific parts and farm more monster parts much faster. And these other skills, you won't really get these. It's just because I have some gems or some drift stones attached to them right now. So I'm just gonna click on each of these armor sets that I have for the early game. So the Kulu headpiece, I upgraded it to level 6 to unlock critical eye. So I have lock on and critical eye, gives me 10% affinity. Then this one, very important, you get Divine Blessing level 2, the Legiana Mail. I think you only need to get this to level 6 to unlock all the skill sets, and also a Drift Smelt slot. And then for the Paulumu set, once you get this to level 6, you get 2 concentrations and a divine blessing, and of course you unlock the drift smelt slot. And this one, I think this is the most important armor. It's going to be useful for almost any build I have created. I think the Lumu Coil has been a part of it because it has divine blessing level 2, and you can put a lot of skills into this. So just to show you what I have, so I have thunder attack, and this is a part of my max thunder armor. And what I'm trying to get into this Lumu Coil is another divine blessing and at least +1 attack from each element, so thunder attack, fire attack, ice attack, so that I can incorporate it much more effectively in all these other armor sets that I have and replace all those other pieces of equipment with something else that's going to be more useful. So after the Lumu Coil, what I chose eventually for the Greaves, since this is, you can choose anything for the Greaves once you get Divine Blessing level 5 from the mail, the Vambraces, and the coil. You can choose almost any kind of skill you want for the legs, but I think it took some time before I got a level 2 on the Lumu Coil, because you only get to unlock Divine Blessing. You only get to unlock Divine Blessing level 2 at level 6. Yep, at level 6. So while you're not yet at level 6 on that equipment, you might want to use the Banbaro Greaves because it gives you a Divine Blessing level 1 and a Concentration level 1, and that actually pairs really well with the Concentration and Divine Blessing of the Paolumu set. That's why all these combined together right now gives me Concentration level 3, and it allows you to increase your special gauge fill rate by 15%. But then, as I progressed through the game, I opted, instead of using the Banbaro Greaves, I chose to use the Bazelgeuse Greaves so that I can unlock the Valor. And I think Valor is a very powerful skill in this game, because when you're slaying a monster in solo or in solo mode or when you're alone, almost always during the half point time, the monster is going to roar, or when you cut down its health by a quarter or by half, it will roar. And Valor, it only needs that one roar and you get that attack power boost for the rest of the hunt, and that's really really huge. And when you get to like level 5, it gives you like 1,000 attack power boost, and that's just very powerful. But yeah, level 1 is very good already, and it allows you to unleash at least 2 special moves in one hunt, because it also fills up your special gauge by about 50%. So the moment you start the hunt, you can slice, unleash your special, slice more, and then the monster roars, your gauge fills up, you slice a bit more, and you can unleash another special and finish off the monster. And so I think that's it for the armor set. Just for the rest over here, we'll get to that in a while. So number 3, as you're starting the game, you just want to collect as much items as you can and do not sell them unless necessary. And if you're running out of space, you can just start crafting elemental armor pieces little by little to sell up free space. And again, very very important, do not sell rarity 2 and above monster parts, because you will need those when you're crafting specific armor sets, because these monster parts tend to be, what do you call this, cross compatible? No, it's a cross requirement. So for example, even if you don't need anything from a Radoban, some other equipment that you're crafting might require a Radoban tail, which is a rarity 2 item. And if you have thrown away all those Radoban tails, then you'll have a hard time crafting the armor that you want, and you'll end up needing to farm more Radobans than necessary. So I think for the elemental armor pieces, most of the time you would wanna prioritize crafting the Vambraces, because that's what gives you the 2 levels of elemental attack. So that's for fire. I think that's the Anjanath. And then for thunder, you have this is the Zinogre. And then for water, I think this is the Jura. Oh, nope. Wait. For water, we have, yep, the Jura. And then for, what's the other one? For the ice, I think this is a Bariath. Yep, I think most Vambraces give you like a level 2 of elemental, so prioritize crafting those for when you are starting to run out of space in your storage. And so, just to give you a preview of all the other elemental sets that I have, this is it. Get the Rathalos helmet, Glavenus for the chest, Anjanath for the Vambraces, again the Paolumu for the waist, and the Acnosum for the greaves. I think almost all my armor sets, elemental armor sets, have the Lumo coil. Yep, it does. Next, for the thunder, have the Coral Puke for the head. Oh, actually, for the general set that you want to use up until level 6, if you can replace the Kulu headpiece with the Coral Puke headpiece, they're kind of similar, except that since you have lock on, weakness exploit is going to be much more useful since it increases the affinity by 20% when you're attacking a weak point. So you can just lock onto a weak point, start slicing that part, and your affinity increases by 20%, as compared to the Kulu headpiece that only gives you 10% affinity. But again, the good thing about this is you can just strike any part and that 10% affinity just applies. So going back for the thunder, I have that Coral Puke headpiece, Kazoo mail, Zinogre Vambrace, Lumu coil, and oh, I did use the Basilius, but if you want to get Divine Blessing level 3, you need at least Divine Blessing level 3 to get that 50% chance of damage reduction. This time you can use the Banbarrow Greaves again to get that extra Divine Blessing and one more concentration, so that gives you 2 depending on the other drift zones that you have in your set. For the ice, have the Legiana headpiece, I have the Bazel mail, I think just because I can afford it, I think. Yep, but if you want Divine Blessing level 5, you can equip your Legiana mail, but for this instance, I've unlocked the Basilius mail and I like having Valor on my armor. Now it increases it by 550 and a special gauge by 60%. And what's really good about the Basilius mail is that by level 8, you get 3 levels of Valor and a Drift Smell slot. I think this is one of the most powerful armor sets or armor pieces in the game. Then there's the Bariath Vambraces, the Lumu coil, and then the Lagombi Greaves, which grants 2 levels of ice attack. Finally, for the water armor set, I actually plan on changing this a bit, so I'm gonna have to remove this and replace it with the Banbarrow, because my Banbarrow Greaves, I think I got lucky one day and got water attack +1 on it. So if I equip this and switch it to this one, I get water attack level 5, and I can also get Divine Blessing level 5 with this armor, and concentration Artful Dodger. But if I want lock on, I can just replace this Legiana set with the Glavenus armor, because the Glavenus chest armor gives you a lock on and raw power, although this comes at a consequence of a decreased affinity. So that's the armor pieces. I think I've shown you all of it. The Mitsuzune, Legiana, Giratodus, Lumu, and Banbaro. What I intend to shift here just to be able to incorporate at least a weakness exploit in this set is to get a Jira Greaves. Oh, no, not the Jira Greaves. The Jagras Greaves, which I've upgraded already to level 6, gives me 2 levels of water attack. So I'm gonna replace the Banbaro Greaves with that one and get at least a water attack +1 on the Lumu coil and change concentration over here to a water attack. So I have 5 and I can equip the Legiana Mail and for the headpiece, the Coral Puke headpiece, so that I have lock on and weakness exploit and just adds more affinity to this build. So I think the last tip is once you need more Wyvern Gem Shards, just finish the story of level 7 monsters and unlock the level 8 monsters, because by doing so, oh, it keeps on closing. By doing so, most of the group hunts or the dimensional links that's going to appear on your map are going to be the level 8 monsters. If you stay in level 7, most of those dimensional link monsters are going to be level 6. But once you finish level 7 monsters, most or not all of the monsters in the dimensional links are going to be level 8. And you get a much higher chance, or you only start getting Wyvern Gem Shards by slaying the 8-star monsters. So as you can see, the Gyros, the Jagras, the Zinogre, the Tobikadachi, the Silver Rathalos, Jagras again, 2 Anjanas over here, the Magnamalo, the Giratodus. So yeah, at this point, you don't really get dimensional links for like level 7 or level 6. You don't really get anything much by doing dimensional links on level 7. So I guess that the way the game is designed, it also doesn't generate that. So just get to level 8, and as you can see, the Puke also there. Oh, and the Nightshade Paulumus over here. This is so good. They're just right next to each other, and even the Diablos over there. And yeah, by doing so, you'll get more chances of getting Wyvern Gem Shards. Actually, I just got to level 8 yesterday, and by slaying a Great Gyros and a Kuluyaku, I got 2 Wyvern Gem Shards. So at this rate, if I keep on slaying enough monsters and breaking specific parts that increase my chances of getting a Wyvern Gem Shard, you just have to revert to mhn.quest for that one. Then you can get up to 10 Wyvern Gem Shards per day. Just keep up the grind against those level 8 monsters, break their parts, and you'll eventually get a lot of Wyvern Gem Shards. So I think that's it for the guide today, and thank you all for watching. Happy hunting!